All right, let's get right into it. Today in this explainer, we're tearing down the myths and looking directly at the hard data behind one of the most fascinating digital assets you can own right now. We're talking about exactly how to build a highly profitable dark channel. And look, we aren't just doing a surface-level overview here. Consider this your direct, source-backed blueprint for building a scalable, totally resilient digital business on YouTube.
Now, I know you've probably seen all those wild promises online, right? Stuff like get rich quick with AI spam or just click a button and make thousands while you sleep. Let's just go ahead and shatter that myth right out of the gate. The sources make it absolutely crystal clear. The era of easy money through fully automated generic content, it's completely over. Done. We need to pivot away from that lazy mindset entirely. What we're really focusing on today is the reality of building a sustainable, high-value business. And yeah, that actually requires some real work, real strategy, and serious intention.
Which brings us to Section 1. What exactly is a dark channel?
So before we get into the heavy mechanics, let's quickly define our terms. A dark channel, which you probably also know as a faceless channel, is simply a YouTube channel where the creator doesn't show their face on camera. You know, no ring lights, no worrying about bad hair days. Instead of a human host sitting in a studio, these channels rely on voiceovers, sleek animations, stock footage, or even AI avatars. But, and this is absolutely crucial, faceless does not mean authorless. The data shows us that for a dark channel to actually survive and thrive, it 100% requires original scripts and a very clear, distinct editorial voice. Your unique editorial fingerprint has to be all over it.
Moving on to Section 2. Why create a channel and how to diversify your revenue?
You might be wondering, if this takes actual work, why not just build a traditional business or a personal brand? Well, let's shift our perspective for a second. Think of this as building a highly diversified digital asset. There are three massive advantages here. First up, you can scale production using AI workflows. You can automate the tedious parts of the process and eventually build a well-oiled machine that runs efficiently. Second, you can drastically diversify your revenue. A dark channel is an absolute powerhouse for generating income way beyond just YouTube AdSense. We're talking affiliate marketing, selling digital products like guides and templates, or landing huge brand sponsorships. And third, you can test multiple niches with incredibly low personal risk. Because your face and personal identity aren't tied to the brand, you can experiment with different topics without putting your own reputation on the line. The audience loyalty here is built purely on the value of the content itself, not a physical presence.
Let's jump into Section 3. The niche selection matrix. This is your strategic framework.
Now this right here is where a lot of creators fail before they even publish a single video. You literally cannot just chase a high RPM, the revenue per 1,000 views, and expect to win. It doesn't work that way. Walk with me through this 5-point checklist derived directly from the source material. This is exactly how you guarantee your channel's long-term viability. Number 1, demand. Are recent videos in this specific space actually getting high views? Number 2, repeatability. Can you sit down and come up with 50 to 100 unique video ideas without it feeling like the exact same thing over and over? Number 3, originality. Is there actually room for you to stand out and carve out a unique visual identity? Number 4, longevity. Will this topic survive beyond a passing temporary trend? And finally, monetization. Does this specific audience have commercial intent? Like, do they attract advertisers and buy secondary products? If you can't confidently answer yes to these, you really need to rethink your niche.
Now, what's really fascinating here is this concept of outliers. When you're researching demand, don't just guess or go off a gut feeling. Look for outliers. These are videos that are performing way above a channel's normal average. For example, if a channel normally pulls in, say, 10,000 views, but then they have one video on a specific topic that hits 2 million, boom, that's an outlier. The sources emphasize that finding an outlier indicates incredibly strong demand, a super attractive promise, and a highly favorable theme. It literally validates your channel idea through hard, undeniable data.
All right, Section 4, the demonetization trap. Let's talk about how to avoid falling into the abyss.
I'm going to lower my tone for a second here because this is dead serious. This is the exact trap that kills thousands of channels every single day. Look at this stark contrast. On the left side, we have mass production, or what a lot of people just call AI slop. This is when you use repetitive templates, slap a robotic voiceover onto a generic slideshow, and call it a day. Let me be clear. Doing this will get you banned or demonetized, period. But over on the right, we have substantial transformation. This means taking source materials and actually adding original value, deep critique, and a totally unique narrative. YouTube actively looks for this difference. Just throwing a fancy filter on a generic video is absolutely not going to save you.
So the really crucial point here is understanding YouTube's exceptionally strict rules. The platform actively hunts down and rejects what they call inauthentic content, which, in their newly updated policies, literally means mass-produced, templated material with little to no variation. They also flat-out reject reused content, which is taking third-party clips without adding significant new meaning. And here is a massive, massive misconception that the sources highlight. Copyright claims and monetization policies are two completely different things. Just because you have a copyright license or you manage to avoid a strike does not mean you'll be monetized. You still absolutely have to provide that substantial transformation we just talked about.
Moving to Section 5, Rules for Monetization. Let's build this thing the right way. Okay, let's get back to the actual blueprint. How do we build this the right way so the channel stays highly profitable for the long haul? Well, here is the correct, fully policy-compliant editorial workflow, step by step. Step 1, original research. You have to bring something fresh to the table. Step 2, original scripting. You need a clear, distinct point of view. Step 3, AI asset generation. Use your AI tools to create stunning visuals or generate voiceovers based on your highly specific prompts. And Step 4, honestly, the most important one of the whole bunch, the human storytelling edit. A real human must weave all these disparate pieces together so that they actually mean something emotionally to the viewer. Look, if you take away just one single phrase from this entire explainer today, please make it this: AI is an assistant, not a replacement. This is a recurring motif across all the successful models in our source data. AI is absolutely fantastic for accelerating your workflow. It's great for brainstorming, storyboarding, and churning out specific assets. But a human must always be responsible for the final editorial decisions, the fact-checking, and the overall narrative structure of the video.
And this brilliantly illustrates how human storytelling applies directly to your monetization. Take a look at this retention chart. Notice that red line right there? That marks a brand deal right in the middle of a video. Normally, viewership just falls off an absolute cliff during a mid-roll ad, right? But look at the retention here. The dip is incredibly minor. Why? Because the source material explicitly states brand deals are content. When you treat your sponsorships with the exact same storytelling rigor and entertainment value as the rest of your video, it completely prevents that massive drop in retention. Stellar editing keeps your audiences hooked and boosts those long-term views, which ultimately means more residual customers for years to come.
Let's go ahead and wrap up these specific monetization rules. First, write original scripts. Never, ever use AI to just lazily copy and paste articles from the internet. Second, edit for meaning. Use custom sound design and stick to a consistent visual identity to build a highly recognizable brand. And third, and listen up because this is a strict policy requirement, you absolutely must disclose highly realistic AI or altered media. If you're creating synthetic content that could genuinely make a viewer believe an event or person is real when they're not, YouTube requires you to use their altered or synthetic content disclosure label. Transparency here is totally non-negotiable.
Which brings us to our final question, and it's something I really want you to chew on for a bit. Your face isn't on camera, but is your unique editorial fingerprint visible? A truly successful dark channel isn't about hiding behind a screen. It's about projecting your creativity, your deep research, and your storytelling in a highly scalable way. If you can manage to inject your distinct point of view into every single script and every single edit, you won't just avoid the demonetization trap, you'll build a highly profitable, endlessly sustainable digital asset. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this blueprint helps you go out and build something incredible.